How do I want to start this video?
Bacon burger.
Bocchi the Rock. It's a show that came out in the fall season, and I regret not watching it when it was coming out, but at the same time, I'm glad I was able to watch it as it was all out, because I was able to just binge it all at once. And I'm just gonna say this. This has been a really refreshing show. It's been a little while since I've discovered just a hidden gem of a show or anything that's just been so good. Let's get the plot synopsis out of the way just so I'm not tangentially talking about other stuff. Bocchi the Rock. It's a show primarily about music. You're following this main character, Bocchi, as she's referred to by her friends, who has a severe social anxiety disorder. Not communication disorder like Komi-san, but just social anxiety, like to the point where she barely can interact with her own family, and she's just going through that life until one day when she's in middle school, she sees this band performing on TV and she's just like, I want to give that a shot. So she starts learning guitar, and eventually she comes up with the goal, like, I want to perform at my school festival. And she's just like, that's my goal. And then you jump forward 2 years, and she's like, I never achieved that goal. But she's starting high school, and she just wants so desperately for someone to talk to her. Not to talk to somebody because she can't. She just comes to school every day, like with her guitar, just hoping somebody will talk to her about music. But eventually, one day she's at this park. This blonde girl comes to her and she's like, hey, do you play guitar? We need guitars for our band. Come on, let's go. And she's just like, okay. Because as being someone with social anxiety, she can't exactly say no. So she sort of just has to say yes to everything. And eventually she starts playing with this band, this club, and then she develops. They see that she's just amazingly good at guitar. It's just her only downside is that she just is a blubbering mess. And the whole story pretty much is her and this band just trying to grow their name as a band, and just Bocchi just putting herself in different situations and just seeing her grow as a person. And I'll say this right now, I fucking adored this show so goddamn much. Thankfully, this is one of those shows where I think anybody can watch it. Literally anybody. Like, even if you're not like too much into anime or anything really, I think you'd get a real kick out of this show. I'd say the main thing that absolutely just carries this is hands down the funniest show I've seen in a long time. There were many points throughout every episode where I was full on just laughing out loud. Like, literally had me wheezing, had me just belly laughing, like on the verge of tears. And at the same time, it is extremely wholesome and just like had me on the verge of tears out of just being proud of like seeing Bocchi like do things. This was a fairly relatable show on many different levels. I don't think I've had a character that I've fallen in love with so quickly as I have with Bocchi. Within the first few minutes of the show, I instantly was so attached and had a love for this character, and honestly related to her so much. I don't have social anxiety like to the level that she does, but I do have it to a certain extent. Just the idea of just being nervous for a big event like the night before, just hoping maybe like, oh, maybe I'll get sick, or, you know, maybe a hole will open up in the floor, and then like any excuse to not go to this thing. But similarly to her, she sort of has this state she goes into when she's playing her guitar, where she just like tunes it all out and just focuses on what she's doing. It's like, I'm similar to that, both when I've performed in the past and just like doing any sort of social thing, you know, just sort of the ultra instinct of life where it's just, you tune out everything else, just let the body go, don't even think. But also the funny thing that I relate to Bocchi, like one of the first things, just like, yeah, I have a YouTube channel, or at least it's not called YouTube in the show, but like I have a YouTube channel and whatnot. It's like, there's a lot of people like, it's a good escape for me. It's just like, oh, it's so relatable. It's like, oh, I bet she doesn't have a lot of subscribers. And she's like, yeah, I have a channel of 30,000 subscribers. I'm just like, instantly unrelatable. Nah, but still, like, I relate a lot to her on that. Just like having YouTube as an escape. There's many points like when she's anxious or whatever, she's just like, the sanctity of the internet, please save me. Although for Bocchi's sake, I hope she does not have a Twitter. I mean, she doesn't have any social media other than YouTube, because that's something they do delve into in the show. It's just like, oh, Bocchi, you should make an Instagram. And then it's just like, as she says that, like the world just like tunes out, and she's just like, This is how I knew I found just such a good show, and how it's one that's gonna probably be one of my tops the more I rewatch it, is the fact that as soon as I was done with it, I immediately wanted to rewatch it. Just for so many different things. Like, I'm not saying just Cloverworks, man. They're so good. This is what I'm gonna say, man. It's like Cloverworks, Mappa, like the big titans of anime animation. Toei, Ufotable, Kyoto. Like, Mappa, Bones, Cloverworks, like, they're coming for the spot. And I'd say they've taken it. In terms of, like, action adventure shows and shonen, I'd say Mappa has taken over that realm of just in terms of animation quality. But in terms of like slice of life romance stuff, I would say Cloverworks absolutely has become like the new Kyoto animation. It's not even just the animation in the show. Like the art and animation is absolutely phenomenal, but it's the editing, man. Like editing is not really something I really think about like when it comes to like watching stuff and whatnot. Like if it's bad editing, like I'll notice it. Like this is one of the first like few shows where I've like really noticed. I mean, obviously it's just like all down to like the different quirky ways they illustrate like Bocchi's anxiety, like to the point where she literally becomes like a 3D model in Blender as she like crashes through a wall. Yeah, the editing, the voice acting, and the music are absolutely what carry this show. Every single thing that you think about when it comes to anime, like in terms of production, this show absolutely nails. Art, animation, direction, editing, voice acting, plot, music, like it all works and it's so good. And it's just one of the things that just made me love this so much is just how quickly you end up just really rooting for Bocchi, and how like even when there's moments where it's just like she hypes herself up to do this thing and ultimately it cuts to the next scene and she's like, I couldn't do it. It's just like you're not disappointed and you're not even sad. You're just like, girl, it's okay. I mean, that's just me at least. Like I'm sure there's a lot of people where it's just like, what? But for me, it's just like having just relating so much to her. I've been in that situation many a time, just hyping myself up to do a specific task, getting all the way up to the point where I'm about to do said task, and then I just fall flat and I'm just like, I can't do it. Usually all it takes though is just like one little extra push for me, and that's what happens with Bocchi a lot in this show too, is it takes that one extra push and motivation from a friend, like her escape. She pulls out her guitar, starts playing a song or whatever, or like early on in the show, it's just anytime something would happen, she'd be like, go Menasai, and then she would just like crawl into a trash can or the iconic mango box. And it's just also great, just her friends, her fellow bandmates, how quickly like they understand how she operates and whatnot, to the point where all of them are just like, we know what you're thinking, Bocchi. It's like, it's okay. They're all very supportive, but at the same time they're motivating to her. It's just like, hey, look, we're all here, we're all just as anxious, it's just you show it a lot more. It's not really like typical slice of life stuff. It's like there's a little bit of that. It's like there's no beach episode for, I mean technically there is, but like you know, it's not really tropey. There's one thing I'm worried about. It's like there's a little bit of Yuri maybe, which if there is, heck yeah, I'm all for that GL stuff. Like Bocchi the Rock wasn't adapted from a manga from what I understand. It was adapted from like a magazine, like 4-panel comic. It was kind of like a one-shot kind of thing almost. If that's the case, then goddamn, good job. Like if there was very little to adapt from, they made a whole show that was fucking amazing. It's like if people are able to do that with very little source material, then there's like no excuse anymore for like having a full-fledged manga that you can adapt from and have it be shit. Take this as inspiration, man. Like if this is as much as it's gonna be like a one-season thing, it's fine, I guess, but I so desperately hope that there's more. I mean, Cloverworks and Mappa, like they have so much going on right now. I mean, this was popular. Again, even though I wasn't on it week to week, I got to it and I watched all of it, and it's just, and I want to watch all of it again. I mean, the fact I'm dedicating a video to talking about it says a lot. So yeah, what would I give Bocchi the Rock on my score? Absolutely an easy 10 out of 10. So good. Absolutely. If you have any sort of interest in anime or just animation or anything, again, you don't even have to really be super into anime. If you're into like cartoons or just whatnot, or just like you want to appreciate good comedy, good comedic timing, good animation, this is absolutely a masterclass in how to get animation, just cartoons right. Like this show can be used in like a college course to like demonstrate anything about like filmmaking or just like animation. You want to do a course, animation, voice acting, directing, editing. This has it all. I haven't really checked out the dub yet. Is there a dub? Let me check this. Doesn't look like it. There isn't a dub for it yet. I mean, I don't necessarily think there needs to be. I mean, it doesn't matter if there needs to be or not. It's like they'll make a dub, but I'm curious how they'll handle it. I mean, it has potential, but it'll most likely fall on the side of a dub that I won't watch completely, just consume through clips. But either way, this is just my quick review talking about Bocchi the Rock. Just had such an impact on me, and it just, like, I related to it so hard, and I'm probably gonna instantly start rewatching it again after this video. It's one of those shows where it's probably gonna be one of those ones where it becomes like I can put it on the background and still just love it to pieces. So absolutely, I recommend checking it out. Let me know what you think of it, if you've seen it or if you've watched it down below. And stay tuned for many other reviews and everything that will be coming out soon. So until next time, I'm Lancer,